Thank you to Nightscale Draconics for your support as a YouTube member. Hello everyone! My name is Vivian and welcome back to Following the Plot, the new podcast I started recently to replace all of the above. It is now focused, more energized, more having a clue what I'm trying to do with it. It's a storytelling podcast, It's not telling stories, it's about telling stories. It's a narrative podcast. It's about storytelling. That's why it's not in the title as much. It's called Following the Plot, based after the very first, or at least one of the very first bits of advice I received playing visual novels, to follow the plot. And I've used that bit of advice going forward and forward all these many years. Today's guest, we got 3 interviews right out the fucking gate. Just remember, it ain't always going to be interviews. There's going to be other stuff. But right out the gate, got 3 huge guests I'm very excited to talk to. Today's guest, this week's guest, if my upload schedule worked according to plan, is Paul Diggs, the developer of Wolfstar Sins and Paradise. Formerly kind of a one-man band, but now recently branched out. As we discuss some of the finer aspects of his work, of his history, what got him to this point, and celebrating all the people that are helping him get there and where he's going from there. It's a very fun, interesting time. I really enjoyed talking to him. I hope you enjoy listening to it. So without further ado, here is the interview, my interview with Paul Diggs, the developer of Wolfstar Sins and Paradise. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy.
All right, I'm not popping my peas, am I?
Nope. You got a pop shield over there?
No, my microphone's just awful.
I can certainly appreciate that. All right, here we go. Getting into energy up. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I don't know how to start them.
I got psyched up.
You got psyched up?
Yeah, I was listening to DJ Earworm.
Nice. I had their 2009 one. That's my favorite of the DJ Earworm.
So good. I love his mashup.
Yeah, I found it from AMV Hell. Did you ever see those?
I haven't. No.
Nah, it's back kind of in the earlier, little earlier than the third one came out in the early mid 2000s or something. It's a bunch of fan made anime dubs to specific sound bites or something like that. And they compiled them all together, and it's called AMV Hell.
I think the only one I saw was the soccer one.
The soccer one?
Yeah, they did. Oh God, what is his name? The emails, Strong Bad.
Oh, Strong Bad, yeah. Oh my God, I love the emails. What the emails? I love that was fucking great. That's my childhood you're talking about, man. Love it. I don't even want to talk about AMV Hell now. The fucking did you watched Homestar Runner?
My big brother was into that big time.
Nice.
While he was overseas.
Ah, man. God, there was a delightful dose of nostalgia right off the bat. All right, so we're here with Paul Diggs, best known for making the censor bar. No, of course not. Paul, by the way, do you want me to refer to you as Paul, Cornelius, Corny, Wolfstar, Hyper Wolfstar? What the fuck do I call you?
I think you named them all. You could just call me Paul, though. Paul works.
Okay, Paul. I'll call you Paul. I mean, that's what I've been calling you. Paul, you are the dev and author and former artist now that you've made the transition in the artist, but for Wolfstar Sins and Paradise, and also programmer for House of Beef, if I recall.
Yep, those are the two big ones.
Them's the two.
I have worked a couple other projects, but I'm sure we'll get to those.
Well, like what? Let's give a cursory overview. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, let's see. I'm an old dog of the furry fandom. I've been around for a long, long time under the moniker of Wolfstar, who was not my persona. My persona has always been Cornelius the Lion Man. And when Dine found out about that, I've also been an artist for as long as I can remember. Started taking things seriously in high school, though, when I finally stopped band class. Started working
things seriously.
Yeah, I was into concert band. I loved that stuff for a while, but then they were like, okay, we don't have any more concert classes. You're going to come here at 6 a.m. and start marching.
Oof.
I said nuts to that. I went to art class. And my art teacher, Miss Myers, helped me out from there. I ran into all of my friends, really. She really hooked it up with her after-school program. And
shout out to Miss Myers.
Yeah, she sort of started me on the pathway to destruction where I am now.
The destruction, your construction. You make things. You make things that are widely enjoyed and widely propagated. Propagated? Is that the fucking word I want to use there? Probably not.
We're propagating.
You better use safety. The fucking... Wolfstar Sins and Paradise is probably the big thing, because House of Beef.
That's my baby.
Yeah, House of Beef has. I mean, you help with the programming, but you're not the writer, if I recall, or.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so yeah, you are helping in building that one quite a little bit. Wolfstar Sins and Paradise. That's your basically your solo outing until very recently.
Yeah, I just got a team together about a year and a half ago for that one. And my word, Mark Thorne, that man.
Shout out to Mark.
He is our lead artist, and he has already conquered half of the assets I need.
Nice. Not to be confused with Mark Wolfgar, who...
is also a friend.
Yes. I swear to God, for the longest time, I was like, why does Mark have so many accounts? There's so many Marks. Why do they do so different art styles on the different... I never said I was quick to figuring things out. Okay, so there's your... what the fuck? Oh, okay. Spoof is trying to eat his bowl. I'm just trying to see if there's any food hidden underneath it or something. We can quickly go down the team. You've mentioned obviously you and then Mark. Is there more to the team?
There is. We have two more big members of the team. We have Gavel, who works on all the backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. Who also does backgrounds for EA, if I recall.
Yep. And then there's Azagal.
Ah, that's how it's pronounced?
That's how I say it. Oh. I'm sure he gets me laugh every time when I mess up his name.
Oh, fucking. So what does Azagal do?
He is a promoter as well as an artist.
Ooh, nice. That a so often overlooked component of production, the promotion. I don't know how many times I've been talking to a dev and they're like, man, I do all of this shit and like no one's noticed. Oh God, what do I do? And I'm like, fuck me if I know. Have you seen my numbers?
We also have a couple of other people who have contributed, and I really need to give them a shout out because there are music people.
Well, feel free.
Thank you. We got Scoffer, this wonderful man who has visited us many times. And then we have Civ.
Hey, Civ!
You'll find him familiar because he's worked on many projects too.
Yes.
He has impeccable music taste.
Very much so. I mean, they worked on Tennis Ace, Endless Bounty, and shit. They made my my themes. They worked on me.
So definitely look for them. I know that Civ is working with another group too.
Yeah, like part of an
Give you a link
album.
later if you want.
Yeah. And so humble, so nice.
He is super nice.
So generous. Anyway.
So lots of good talent. We also had just recently, for one event, it's a one shot, but he put in a ton of work helping Gavel out as well with the pixel art. We have Sphere.
I'm unfamiliar. Sphere.
I will definitely give you links to all these guys' web pages so you can feel free to promote.
Absolutely. God dang lootly. Man. So that's got to be an interesting thing of like taking this thing that you've worked on by yourself for how long? How long has Wolfstar Sins and Paradise total been in development?
I was alone for the first 3 years. We're heading on to year 5.
Whoa. Okay. Year 5. Damn.
Yeah.
That means shit, man. What, EA's been in development for what, like 700 years, and I've been playing these games for ever, and so year 5. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
That's a hell of a milestone, and you've made it a very long way since then. Working for the first 3 years to finally be branching out into a team dynamic. What can you tell me about more what that's like? Because I can't do that. I've talked to like Shirokoi, and he's just straight up, he can't do that. He has so many trust issues. Is there like a trust thing?
Oh, that's the first thing you do is you decide who's going to wear what hat. And I lucked out because the person who I first reached out to, Mark Thorne, he knows my characters. I've talked to him about Sins in Paradise. He knows things about the story that nobody else does. He already knows these characters, and he helped flesh a lot of them out.
That's good.
That was an easy reach. I was just hoping that I got him at the right time because he was working. He was working a full-time job.
Yeah, and shit, got like a family and shit. So like, yeah, and all of this is funded through a Patreon.
That's correct.
Yeah,
people have been with me since day one too.
Yeah, and that'll be in the description as well. The support on Patreon. That
I much appreciate it.
Yeah. So, to wrap up the so you got Mark, and you've seen Civ work with stuff you've done before, stuff that you've seen their work be done like secondhand before. Did you pitch in at least in some thoughts for Endless Bounty? I mean, you're living right there. Y'all talk shop very often.
I get to listen to a lot of the tunes being blasted out of Diane's room. Our office are literally right across from each other, so we work all day next to each other.
It's
so
nice.
It was an easy sell to to have the music. The hardest part was actually figuring out backgrounds, and Gavel is a godsend. That man can work like no one's business.
Oh yeah, the backgrounds for EA. I remember the days of fucking the 3D vector shit. It's night and day there. So you've got people who've worked personally. That's how it kind of works a lot. Is people who know people, and that's kind of how they get in. Did you have to face a transition into a team member from someone that you did not know quite as well?
So far, no. All close together, close friends. We chat with each other on Telegram and Discord, and
nice.
We've known each other for a while, so this has been dangerous.
Yeah, it's risky working with people that you know, but it also has its own unique benefits too.
Yeah, pay them. Please pay your artists.
Yeah,
Anybody
definitely.
working in a team, that's the number one rule.
Oh man, 100%, and always be honest too. Like, there's a temptation when you're working with a friend, when you're like, if that they produce something that isn't quite how you saw it, or maybe you just don't see it the same way, or whatever. There's got to be a temptation in the back of the mind to kind of, well, I don't want to offend them, or I don't want to bother them, but how do you deal with that specifically?
I always remember that things are not set in stone. And that's the very first thing I say is everything's in development right now. We're not anywhere near done. It's been a bit of a hurdle here and there because of certain costs and setbacks, mostly medical reasons on my end. I had 2 months where I couldn't work properly.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a downer. But other than that, things are starting to pick back up again. So things fluctuate, things will change, and I may even have to shuffle everything around too at the very end to make everything coherent.
Oh yeah, so, those housekeeping updates. Those housekeeping updates going back to the beginning, and
the scenes are there, but sometimes it's what you cut out that's going to make things better. So I've got to remind them about nothing's going to be safe right now.
Yeah, shit, man. That's something that's so unique about doing this specific kind of release schedule, and it's very prevalent in this sphere specifically. But like putting out an incomplete product, something you've been working on tirelessly, but you know damn well someone's going to find that typo, someone's going to find that slipped line, or that weird technical glitch that you didn't see or just managed to slip through the cracks. And there's always going to be people who don't give a rat's ass that it's an in development game, and they're expecting Bethesda style, well, not Bethesda, but they're expecting some miracle AAA fucking polished product that is impeccably flawless. And some people just are not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. That has got to be frustrating. But how do you handle that?
Well, thankfully, I'm really grateful for anybody who's recording on YouTube, because when they catch it, when you see it in action, it really does stand out. And I say to myself, yeah, that needs to be changed. One of the earliest people who did a recording on us came up with some really good points. Uki Cookie did a video for Sins and Paradise a while back, and he gave me some really good advice. And I went ahead and changed the beginning of Sins and Paradise because of him.
Wow.
Yeah, so he pointed out some story flaws that were making the flow, which is something that I do have issues with. I need to make sure that my game is moving along and I don't get too wordy.
Yeah. I'm not laughing because of you specifically, but there are some devs came to my mind. Everyone struggles with it. I mean, shit, you're trying to get this world that's in your head out in the most cohesive and entertaining and compelling way possible, and it's really hard to look at a piece of the story and say, yeah, you don't need 500 lines of dialogue. One paragraph at most, maybe, if at all. And oh man, I've started.
You don't want to change it. It's your baby, but not everything's going to be your opus. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I've started tinkering around with RenP, and I've got a bunch of story ideas written down on my phone, and oh my god, it's such a fucking. I feel like I've got like the biggest karma fucking not comeback, but like I'm about to get smacked in the face with
the universe is watching you.
Oh yeah, because if I make a visual novel and put out a 0.1 update, Everyone I've ever said shit to, anyone I've pointed out a typo or a story beat that's off or some art thing or a translation somehow, I don't know, everyone's gonna find something different and they're gonna let me know, and I don't know if I can handle that.
Let's see. We're going to start off it's going to be a high school romance visual novel. There's going to be the best friend. Childhood sweetheart.
Oh, my God.
You're going to hit every trope.
Like, I honest to God have considered making it like a game that is, it's like Scream, where they go so far out of their way to pick apart every cliche possible that it actually somehow actually manages to be entertaining, but also is obviously not trying to take itself seriously. Because if I start out the gate with some like serious moody shit, that is not going to be good, because your first build is never the best part of your game. But it's the one that has the least amount of feedback going into it. So like, oh God, it terrifies me.
I used to work on another kind of a kiddie game. We did phone games for a little while. And those drain your soul.
Well, like mobile games?
Yeah, I was working with a smaller group, different company. I'm sure they wouldn't mind me giving them a shout out. It's been forever. WIM Independent Studios. We've been at E3 a couple times too.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, little great moment, little team boost. We were playing the Final Fantasy 14 and we beat Leviathan together in front of everybody.
Aww,
so good job, Win.
Yeah, congrats. That's fucking great.
I died immediately, though.
Hey, man, in Final Fantasy, if the team makes it, everyone makes it. You might not get the EXP, but everyone makes it.
I spent the majority of the time just cheering them on, too. And
that's awesome.
Somebody... They kind of set it up kind of like esports, where there were people doing announcements. So they're like, oh my God, the guy is still typing up positive messages.
Oh, Christ. That reminds me. I used to do Smash Bros tournaments for my birthday. And
Epic.
Yeah, the last year I tried to introduce an announce booth. And you know, before that, I kind of just thought, you know, if you go behind a microphone and you just kind of yammer, the matches are short, it'll be fine. No, not everyone can do it, man. I also find myself thinking that every time I look around to see, you know, other people reading these stories. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Let's just move on. You know,
well, if you're doing some Smash nostalgia real quick, Dunn actually got a little medal for winning a Smash tournament.
Oh, hey, that's nice.
Yeah, not bad for a little E3. He has his little medal. I think he was playing as Greninja.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
He kicked the snot out of everybody, and then he got up on stage and talked with Mario. That was fun.
Oh, Charles Martinet?
Yep.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, he was wearing his squid hat.
That's fucking great. Do you guys have a Switch? Do you guys play Smash Ultimate?
We do have a Switch, and I am terrible.
Oh, I happen to have a Switch. I happen to have a Switch Lite. We all should play sometime.
Oh, definitely. I will be the one getting launched into the air repeatedly.
I'll be right there behind you, man. I've been playing it my whole life. Doesn't mean I'm any good. But
I love Kirby.
You what?
I love Kirby.
Nice.
And I'm sure that's going to be controversial for everyone.
I did briefly mention it. And I do want to ask a question about the reception of your game.
Sure thing.
You mentioned people doing videos on you, and it's you mentioned how it can be helpful when someone comes along with some actual helpful criticism, or they do it in good faith. I remember for the first 100 episodes of EA, for example, Dine would not communicate with me at all. I was convinced he hated me. But it turned out it was because someone else had made a video that was not so kind and not as gratifying or whatever. And so he had some hesitancy. Have you experienced something like that yourself, where you come across someone who's playing your baby and they're doing it wrong?
So nobody whipped out a horse dildo and started thrashing around on camera during my videos, so I haven't had anything to that level of trauma.
Christ. I don't.
You know who you are. You're out there.
Oh, man.
The worst that's been done to me is when people just play the game and it's quiet. There's nothing else going on. They don't comment. They don't offer any kind of opinion. It's just my video game being played, and I get it. There's people who like Let's Plays that are non-commentary, but those don't help us out at all. And you aren't going to stand out in YouTube by just being quiet. You should do your best to add and be transformative in some way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're kind of just robbing people at that point.
Yeah.
Not so much with other video games, big budget AAA games. People can do different things as they play. Visual novels, though, they're a different beast. They're the kind that you can really just mess somebody up, a smaller developer in their early stages, by just doing that.
Yeah.
So try to be transformative, try to offer something, even just, if you're too shy to put your face in there, that's fine. You can have an avatar like we do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the other way. It just depends on how our audiences behave. They might see something and they're like, I want that. I want that in my life. Get it in me now.
Oh, man. Okay, so let's talk more about Sins in particular.
All right.
For a while, I want to start the section off with an apology. The first, I think, 2 episodes of my series on Wolfstar Sins and Paradise is 90% a giant plum. And I feel terrible. I feel terrible about that. God. I was just so scared. I had gotten a strike on my channel around that time, and I was terrified of there being an errant wiener flashing on across the screen, and everything's gone. And I went way in the opposite direction. I was just overly cautious in times where I really didn't need to be. But that's why I tend to not stream these games anymore, because I can edit them. Oh, man.
Amen for you for finding that big problem, too, because we added a streamer mode.
Yes.
Checked off. It needs to be checked off, though. Coming back to it, sometimes REMP is weird. It doesn't remember it. And so there's no warning.
Yeah, that happens. But I mean, that's something that happens. REMP, good Lord. Sometimes it just feels like it's trying to hurt your feelings.
It does its best. It's a very good program. I've been pretty impressed with it. Working with it's been easy. Yeah, I refuse to update it, though. I'll tell you why. If you really want to know.
I do.
So code for REMP in the past versions will not work for the current. So you might have something that actually worked in the past, and then when you bring it to the future, it does not work the way you want it to at all.
Yeah.
And that's just computer language in a nutshell.
Yeah. I've come up against that a number of times, usually with save files. And I always feel bad because it's a legitimately frustrating thing to deal with, but I don't want anyone to feel like it's anyone's fault. Like, it's not. It's just something that happens. But when you're 100+ episodes deep into a game, it's hard to go back in time and redo everything.
I scream at the top of my lungs whenever I see an error pop up, and it's just the gray list on somebody's video that they now have forever. One of them, Shins, I believe, when we first had rolled out everything, the new art and such, and there's Cornelius facing the wrong direction the entire time he's having a conversation with Wolfstar. I was livid. I scream into a pillow.
Oh, God. I can only imagine. Bree's been trying to develop a game in, I believe, Unity lately, and I don't know how many times I've heard her just fucking going nuts in the other room because she's like, why isn't it working? I'm doing the thing. I typed it. What's wrong? I'm doing it right. What the fuck? And oh God. And it's always, I can only imagine. I can only fucking imagine.
So Unity is really fun to work with because you can play immediately while you're working at the same time. A lot of the times when you do that, though, for whatever reason, they've made it so that the code you just put in while playing doesn't stay there. So when you go back, the code can go missing. And that was the older versions of Unity. That's back when I was in college. I hope they got rid of that. I hope they just let you put in code once and it stays there.
I hope so. Oof.
And then, of course, Unity is a big whore when it comes to just taking any kind of file. You can throw anything into Unity.
Damn.
Problem when you make your builds for Unity, and then things can change and become unexpected. So that's some fun Unity knowledge for people out there. Be careful with it. Be sure it works before you try to sell it.
Yeah. Take note, fucking every fucking company out there right now.
And beware of asset flips, that's for sure.
Oh, man. But, Sins.
We're on topic. Sorry, Bree. We love you.
Oh, man. I'm wearing headphones, but I'll let her know. So, Sins. It's I feel so bad because right now I've got a slight impression in my head about Sins being tonally disjointed. But the problem is I am willing to admit entire fault on my own self because it seems like I drop in on that game once every half a year. And I feel so bad about that because I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the game.
I just hope you like what you see when you come back.
I do. Like when I go to do another thing, it's never because I don't want to come back to Sins. It's so early on playing that game. I'm still in like episode. What fucking episode am I on? Let me check. I'm very early on in the game, and so it hasn't gotten. I don't think I've gotten to the meat yet.
I think you're doing just fine, though, because, I mean, look at all these other freaking developers out there. My God, the people who do Adastra and Echo is doing more projects still, and you can't wait for Sins to be done.
I don't know what you mean wait for Sins to be done. So I've been 8 episodes. I've done 8 episodes. and the first one came out in 2019.
Oh, wow.
That is a very infrequent upload schedule. So, like, how far behind am I from the most recent update?
All right, so Sins, we have it plotted out where the first part is the slow part. It's a slow burn. It has a huge Act 1, which is the first month. Mm-hmm. And then Act 1 ends when the Halloween events happen. So depending on which character you're with, they all have their own completely different story comes to that. And then we move back to the main story. So I kind of funnel it that way. Month 2 is going to be a lot shorter. The second half is going to be a lot faster. We actually do plan to focus more on what's happening in the real world. And it's mostly going to be Jenny's chapter.
Nice.
So that's what the hard thing was, deciding how much time do I allot for Wolfstar and Jenny, and I have to keep going back and forth and reminding people that Jenny exists.
I mean, it is very hard to take your attention off of the buff stripper guys and this super. No. It's just a matter of tonal shift, because as far as I've gotten in the game thus far, which is not far at all, unfortunately, I've honestly considered starting over, and really giving it just like a full on fucking. I'm gonna try to play this up until the most recent update. As far as I've gotten is where Jenny is in the helicopter getting to the meeting or whatever, or something like.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, that's far back.
that's what I mean. Like, I have not gotten to anything yet. All that's happening right now is a bunch of stuff that has not had time to be explained. And so it just feels like there's 500 characters all doing independent stuff, and I have no idea why, because I haven't gotten to it yet. So that's why I feel like genuinely it would probably be best for me to just start over. What do you think?
I would definitely.
You wouldn't protest to someone playing your game more often.
So, no, how dare you try to know what's going on and going back, looking at all the improvements.
Yeah. Oh, man. I remember I put out a poll about, like, because EA also went through an art change. And I put out a poll. Yeah. Fucking hell. That's a whole other thing. But I remember asking at one point, it's like, should I just go back and replay everything? And people were like, yeah, you should. Now I'm at 148 episodes, and I'm like, I don't think I should do that.
It's hard to start over. So far, you've invested so much time too.
Yeah, and it really is just a luck of the draw type of thing. You know, it's whatever happens. You know what I'm realizing is genuinely probably the biggest singular reason why I have played more of games like Echo and EA and stuff like that more than Wolfstar Sins and Paradise, is because it's at the bottom of the list alphabetically.
I believe it.
Because my fucking indecisive ass will be like, oh god, what game am I going to play? I pull up my visual novel folder, and right at the top you got Adastra with an A, Echo, extracurricular activities. You go a little bit further down, Tennis Ace. You notice that hasn't been updated on my channel in a while. And then down at the bottom is Wolfstar being like, hey, you send me an update personally every time you put one out. And I'm like, fuck, I need to do that. And then shit, I feel so bad. I feel so bad. It is not personal. I want to make it so abundantly clear. It is not anything to do with personal or a disinterest or anything like that. Oh my god.
I gotta say though, like I said, the other developers have come up with some amazing stories, and I know you've had a ball with Adastra and Echo.
Oh, God, that's.
Hey, just sneaking this in, how's Password? Are you enjoying that one?
I got a bad ending really quickly.
Oh no, you open the wrong door or something, and like a monster kill you.
Well, more accurately, I didn't open a door and it killed someone else, and now, and then the game ended. It just ended. I didn't get to do anything. I fucking.
You killed the main NPC.
Oh man, it's so. And I also feel bad about that. There's so many games that I'm like, ooh, this looks interesting. And I do an episode and people are like, oh, this looks interesting. And then I just never get back to it. I am so bad about follow through. And I desperately hope that it's never been taken personally by anyone. Because it's like I said, it's just a luck of the draw. And I also have taken way too many on hand all at once because like by the time I finish updating one game, another one updates and I'm like, oh fuck, I need to do that because that just came out and no fuck. And then
well, you got what? You got Hayseed Night comes out sporadically, right? It's all over the place when it comes out. And when it does, it's like a celebration.
Yeah, like 'cause they do whole chapters at a time. They don't update monthly. Like you psychos. How in the hell does anyone maintain a regular schedule? I've tried talking to people who do it, and I've yet to figure out how it's done.
Let's see. For me, the start of the month is always Patreon rewards and Bradford's House of Beef. And then on the 19th on is my time for Sins. So Bradford's House of Beef does take me a little bit more time to work on. There is a lot of art that he cranks out. Amazing how much he builds. And then what's fun is I get to animate for him too.
Yeah, it's a very unique art style, and like every time I look at House of Beef, I have yet to play it, unfortunately, but I look at it and I'm like, oh, what is this? Is this a thirst trap game? And then it's like, no, there's like a mystery and shit. I'm like, whoa, what the? And then again, it's starting something new when I've got what feels like a bunch of other games being like, you gotta play me now, oh god. And then people in the comments, they're like, you haven't played the new Tennis Ace update, I hate you and everything you stand for. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Basket's been working super hard.
Everyone's working super hard, and that's not a dismissive thing. What I mean is the devs are so inspiring to me. How and you're obviously included in this. You guys just work so hard and you're so capable, and especially when I've tried to look, I've talked to so many of you at this point and I've looked at some of the behind the scenes, and I'm constantly digging through game files because I'm weird.
You're also learning, right?
Yes, I'm trying to learn how to do it, how people do it, and of course having this is something I was going to ask earlier and I forgot to, was having the motivation of I need to put out an update for Patreon or the rent. Like I don't.
All right. So for me, I've trained myself. I've hardened myself because I have worked many jobs. I used to work at a factory. I used to work in Blockbuster Video.
Nice.
I used to work as a manager for mini storage. That was fun. That was the best job. I got to be so lazy and play Neopets all day.
Nice.
So for me, I probably got out of wanting to be lazy and wanting to make something, because after that job is when I went to college, and that's when I started to really have a direction. My original direction was to go into animation, not video games. I changed my changed my evil ways come year one of college, though, because I found interest in this stuff. And then also dying. Dying really changed my life. Oh, I love him so much.
Aww, it's so sweet.
So dying worked at GameStop for the longest time, and he came to me one day and he told me about how unhappy he was and how he wanted to change where he was going. And he was really not sure if he could do it right now. And I was totally on board. I absolutely believed in him. And yeah, I was his first $100 patron every month, and I made sure to support him and watch him every step of the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
And EA it took off. He stopped working at that lousy GameStop, and can anybody relate with that here?
That's so
hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag GameStop, you're the worst.
Yeah. I didn't know that you were his first $100 patron.
Yeah, and we had a tough year, but honestly, after leaving living with my mom in her house, things changed a lot. Things kept going, and I have so many people I need to be grateful for that. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for believing in dying too. We live a completely different life now, thanks to you. And I don't work in a factory anymore. I have a dream job where I'm a lead at a project that I made myself. I'm my boss, so that really helps.
It's the dream, man.
That is the dream, being your own boss.
That's so fantastic.
I'm still not used to anybody calling me boss, though.
Do people call you boss?
People call me boss, and I'm like, how did you know? Oh, boy.
Oh, that's such a lovely fucking story, man.
So, dreams that can happen to you, and maybe not the dream that you originally thought. You know, you might have a teacher who pushes you into a different direction, introduces you to new friends, and those friends might be a little artist named Mark Thorne. So,
damn.
Yeah.
I mean, we've only been going for 40 minutes, and I've got other stuff I want to ask you, but shit, that sounds like a fucking fairy tale ending if ever there was one. God damn. No,
we're still going. We're still dreaming. Still going to keep doing what we're doing.
This might be a more personal kind of question. It is a more personal question. What am I saying? Having a significant portion, if not all of your income coming from Patreon. First of all, I don't know if that is your specific case or not, but for me, that is something that seemed nerve-wracking at times, considering the possibility of ever having enough to be able to not work at another place, to work at home, work on your own projects funded by Patreon. It seems so risky and unstable at times. Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How do you grapple with that feeling?
So thankfully, things have changed a lot. We don't just have Patreon anymore. So we definitely branch out. We don't have all of our eggs in one basket anymore. So that takes the sting off of things. There's all sorts of, I don't want to say better, but they exist. There's resources now. Things like your coffee account can help out. Things like GoFundMe is really something I would hit up right now. Sins and Paradise, not until it's done. And I want to distribute. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'll make a physical copy, especially since, everything's download these days. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if we make plushies. Yeah. But yeah, our resources, Itch.io, it was huge. Itch.io is probably the second biggest thing in our lives that has saved our butts.
Which is interesting because the payment there is optional.
It is, yes. And people are extremely kind. I've had people, $20 here and there. It's like, oh my word. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I haven't given you a complete product yet. But yeah, please, thank you. Thank you. I will make sure you get to play all my projects here.
Aw. It's such a sweet thing.
I have been very, very lucky, very blessed. I hope I'm very humble too.
You are. You are. You're humble to the point of self-deprecation, which is kind of going a little too far. But you got reasons to be proud, and you know how, and you're not going full. I almost.
I think I know what we were alluding to.
God, I almost.
We almost have a. Almost.
It reared up really bad last night too. I was tired and my brain got like stuck, and I just it's like relitigating shit. Like it's done. It's been done. It's been almost a full year now, but like, God damn it, man.
Hey, where's my medicine? Get some Tums, something.
I take an anti-acid pill every day.
Just for them.
That's my contribution to the chaos theory. Oh my God. You know what about? I believe I don't know if I talked to you about it or I was talking to someone. I feel like I mentioned it to you, but like I was looking at analytics on my channel.
Always a good time.
Oh yeah. And I found out that whole shit is the biggest, like the most engaged moment of my YouTube channel.
People love controversy.
I guess, but like, combine it when I mean engaged, I mean views and pressing that like button and sharing and commenting, and like I've been doing this in various forms and various things since like 2003. All right, that's before YouTube even existed, for God's sakes. And so for that fucking nonsense, that absolute nothing of a problem becoming not only something that keeps resurging every once in a while, every time some bullshit comes up, but to be the most engaged moment on my YouTube channel, like
it's a scar, right? It's like battle scars.
Yeah, like as much as I have various motivations keeping me continuing to do YouTube, that is one of the things, not the thing that happened itself, not the bullshit that happened a year ago, but the fact that it was in a cynical way, calling it the most successful thing that has happened to my YouTube channel is a huge motivation to just pack it in. 'Cause God damn it, I don't want to fucking
All right, people. You heard Vivian. We gotta do something and knock this out. We're gonna make this video here. This podcast, the most popular now. We're gonna have a feud. We're having a feud right
now. Not another fucking Jesus Christ.
This feud will be great, though, right? It's just gonna be instigated by us.
Oh, God. Like,
knock all the other ones out.
you know how much I don't try to hurt anyone's feelings, and you know how much I am only ever just trying to either have fun or to help or anything like that. And so with the fact that there to have been multiple instances where people have seen the same shit that I have done for other games, your game, your partner's game, fucking a bunch of other shit, and multiple times for people to have looked at that and thought that they needed to fucking go absolutely shit over ass about it.
Well, they thought they were going to elude that. They're special.
Yeah. They're the ones that I'm going to look at that game and just quit all the other ones because no other game is going to be as good as fucking that one.
Oh, yeah. I feel bad because I added to that. I at least watched that video twice.
Oh, twice. The video has fucking thousands of views. God damn it. And you twice? Oh,
I did it twice. I'm sorry.
God. I mean, credit to you. That most people didn't even watch even close to the whole thing. And they're just like, oh, it was an hour long. What a fucking loser. And I'm like, it's an hour because I can't focus on anything. I might have said 10 minutes worth of actual stuff, but it was an hour because anyway, this is an interview with you, not me talking about stick with
Vivian,
interview.
though.
Yeah.
I do watch Vivian, though. I watch your videos. And one of the things me and Diane like to do is, especially whenever you do extracurricular activities, we listen to it together.
Aww.
No pressure.
God, that won't make me remember all the times that either of you have mentioned things that you don't think highly of that I do with that game or with your game or God. Nah, I'm extremely flattered. It'd be beyond fucking description. And for the life...
real quick, a little thank you to you personally too. Playing Monster Hunting for Love.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was great. I worked on that.
Yeah.
I was a concept artist for that one. I wish I could have done more, but it was cool. Made a few decisions. I'm responsible for putting those dotty textures on everything.
That's very nice.
Or having Mark put dotty textures on everything because I did concept art for it, and I was like, "Ooh, comic book like that would be cool."
I liked it.
All right, I'm glad you did. I mean, making fun too.
What?
Making all the different monsters was fun too.
Yeah.
Medusa, Mark came up with the brilliant idea of having somebody hold the mirror.
Yeah, that was what, like a year or two ago? What was that?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. That was a fun project to work. That every October, Jonathan wants to make another game kind of deal. He challenges himself for that, and it's a big challenge because sometimes he'll bust out Unity instead of doing it on Rempe. It's like, no, stick with Rempe. It's easy.
Relatively easy, mind you.
Yeah, right.
I can't. There are so many things about Rempe that I look at and I'm like, how? What the fuck? How? God. And I know your kind self have offered to take any questions that I have, and I appreciate that.
I await your questions, young Padawan.
Man, when they come, they're gonna fucking come hard. Like, is this? Oh, God, anyway.
And this is exactly how it's going to go. You're going to have a question for me, and I'm just going to turn around, stick my head out the office, and be like, Dine! Come help us.
Oh, jeez.
There have been times. There have been times we'll catch a comma or a period in a weird way, and it's like, oh, that's why nothing's working.
Yeah. Oh man, that to me is that to me is probably one of the things I'm least looking forward to. Is everything going to shit, having no idea why, searching for what feels like hours or days, and sometimes it's actually hours or days, just to find, like, instead of a parenthesis, you used a bracket.
And brackets will break Rempy. Beware brackets.
See? Like, I was just guessing with that. I didn't know that was a thing. Shit, I actually said something real.
Yeah, I only caught that because Bradford writes out he writes out the script, and he'll send it to me, and the script has brackets because that's how he's used to writing. And before I tried to just copy paste it, and yeah, things didn't work out. I'm a lot more careful now.
That's good. That's good. There's something about Sins I wanted to ask you.
Sure then.
The scene transition to be continued signs. Very flashy, very dramatic. They get me every time.
Are they a jump scare?
They're kind of a jump scare. They definitely do come out of nowhere. What fucks me up is that any other game you see to be continued, that means it's the end of the build. But no, for this, it's like, to be continued. Oh my God. And then it's like, all right, we're moving on now. Where did that come from? Because that I have not seen that anywhere else.
So I was inspired by Bleach.
Oh, no wonder. I haven't seen Bleach.
All right. So one of the things that Bleach does that has captured my imagination is their to be continues are always different. They do a different style, a different screen, a different cut, different colors. They'll go black and white sometimes. They'll do a Cowboy Bebop thing sometimes. It's just always interesting. And I wanted to do that for Sins and Paradise as well.
Fun.
So a couple of the ones that I'm proud of that stood out is when the tax man just blows out the smoke and it says to be continue.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite. You get a close up of his mouth and he blows out the to be continue.
Speaking of the tax man. And in general the theme that comes around with it, because that's one of the things that kind of hits you in the face expectation wise, because it's very early on in the game when you're posed with the concept of, well, the tax man will get his payment. You can either this or you can either that.
Was that the first minutes of the game?
Yeah, that's like right out the gate. So you really set the expectation right away of this being a very sex forward game, but not mindlessly. And I have no problem with sex as a storytelling a medium, an aspect to it. It can be very compelling. It can add a lot to a story, but it is not. It is. There's few things worse in storytelling than mindless sex scenes.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes out of nowhere, it's blatantly unnecessary, and you can almost always tell that the author of these games are, or even just some standard books on shelves, obviously only had this in mind because the sex scenes are always written one way and the rest of the book is written a different way.
Yeah.
So for Sins, sexuality is a very integral part to the story, the storytelling, the stakes of the story, the consequences, and the medium as a whole is very centered around this. Where did that concept come from, and how do you manage to balance sex as a fun inclusion to a story versus sex as an integral gear in the fucking machine that is the story?
So the first thing I thought of was world building. What does sex mean in this society now? Sex is now a currency. What does that mean? So now we have a man who expects monthly payments. So that's where that idea started to roll downhill, so to speak. And when I think about sex for Sins and Paradise, the men that are there, I pictured them all as being sinners. They are in a kind of hell, to speak of, to just put it blatantly. Everybody's there deserves to be there. So sex has to be something different now. It can't just be a sensual thing, or it might mean nothing to a character. They may think nothing of it other than it's just me paying my rent, boss. What can I do? It's wank o'clock. So the long-term survivors of Paradise, they know that that's basically what sex has devolved into, and they have other ways of showing their love now. When they actually do love somebody, that word is rarely used in Paradise. It's something that when we die and we go to the afterlife, do you really want to be nailed down to someone forever immediately?
Yeah.
And time also passes differently too. So I thought about that. I'm like, ooh, even though this couple has been together for 50 years, back on Earth, that's only 2 years that has passed. So that kind of time being messed up as it is over there is also a factor.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that intrigues me most about it, is that literally one of the oldest books ever known to humankind contains a hell aspect. But to actually explore a society based in that, for there to be a place that is a punishment to go after you die, a form of hell, there has to be some form of a judgment, some criteria has to be established and enforced somehow. And the idea of putting a bunch of people who have violated that criteria, established by whoever, however, whatever it may be, to be put all in a place that is decided to be a punishment, you can go in a variety of ways. One common way is to be just fucking physical torment forever, and that's kind of fucking boring.
It really is.
Wouldn't be much of a story to go there. Another way to go with it is to make it everything that a sinner would not want. You know, everything, you know, you fucked around, you're an adulterer, you go to Catholic school forever. Like, you know, yeah, and you're left-handed. But the more interesting way is to take a society in which everyone in there is deemed to be a violator of some kind of criteria to decide good from bad, and twist what they want into something that is not what it was. And that's the interesting thing for, you know, making sex a currency. Because if a violation of a criteria includes flagrant adultery or anything, for example, then having no punishment for that in a hell-like atmosphere is not a punishment. There's no reason for them to have been sequestered in a place specifically meant for the damned, if the damned are allowed to do whatever the damn hell they want. So it's a matter of go ahead.
One of the things that is important too is that this paradise, it's meant to temper the souls too. So the idea of the temptations being there, people can get lost and stuck in there forever. But the real test is those who actually do overcome these temptations. And paradise is a second chance. It's also the last chance.
Yeah, it's a purgatory of sorts, but instead of just being a waiting room, it's a It's like a back porch kind of area. Like,
yeah, it's back there. Say the least. You're still being watched. You're being hunted. You're being all kinds of things are happening too because the game is tilted right now in the demon's favor when you arrive there. So because it's their backyard, it's theirs. You didn't make it to heaven, so they have their own set of rules down there.
Yeah, and that is a very intriguing thing because for a lot of reasons. But one thing that I need to focus on how I'm forming these sentences. One thing that's intriguing about that is for there to be a place for people to go to either fix their shit or to be gone forever. That has to be mandated by whoever is deciding the rules. But for that place to not be run by that same criteria, it makes one curious about the management of it all. You know, who made these rules that have been violated by every inhabitor of paradise? Who runs paradise to decide who stays and who gets out? Why is there a separation in the running of these two realms? And how can it be maintained to serve the original purpose of redemption or damnation while also not being run by the same rules that sent them there?
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to Sins in Paradise, what I have done that probably will come back and bite me later, but for now I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. The angels that I have in there have never met God. They don't even know if a God exists. They are just doing their thing almost out of instinct. Even one of the angels, the higher ones that came down to help out, we had a whole moon about to crash into the city kind of scenario, and he helped with that. Even he doesn't like the citizens of paradise. He would rather see them all just get wiped out and not have to deal with them anymore.
Piety.
So there's some dark themes going on here. Not everything is answered, and I am okay with that.
Yeah. I think that at some point that becomes necessary, because if you seek to answer everything, then you're claiming to answer more than can be left for intrigue. You know, like, because every time I see a piece of Sins fan art, it's always in the club or it's people having a fucking fun time. One would be a person on the outside would scarcely look upon that and think this is a game that's about the truth of morality and the source of redemption and heaven and hell and divine intervention and shit. Like, it's like, go ahead.
That would definitely be a bit much, right?
Yeah, and it's one of the key examples when I give to people that, because I often am, sometimes, not so much anymore, people who had this complaint generally have left by now, but in some of the early days when I would be reading a story and I would be taking its themes very seriously, or I would be taking to heart these various aspects and asking these questions, like I've been posing to you about the nature of blah, 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 blah. I would get so many people that would almost scoff at that. They're like, it's a furry porn game. What the fuck? Why are you asking questions? Just get to the sex scenes. And like, and it fucking infuriated me. And I still, the biggest example in a different game is people who ship two characters in Echo, who their whole fucking, have you read Echo?
I've been in bits and pieces.
Okay, because I know that when you're developing a game, that's like your entire life. So I had no blame whatsoever on that one. But to extremely oversimplify it, two characters, their whole arc is that they're not good for each other for a lot of reasons. The town makes it worse, and it goes really badly if fucked up, and it ends with a bittersweet resolution at best that allows them to move on. That's the whole arc. Is they're bad, it gets worse, and if you do it right, they're able to resolve it, even if it's not great, and move away from each other peacefully. That's the good. But then I keep seeing people make fan art of them together and being happy and talking about how they wish there was a really good ending and all this other, they deserve to be together. I'm like, you fucking idiots. The whole point of the story, if you get your fucking head out of your jock, well, is about the fucking dynamics of good, evil, and relationships, and how everyone is a shade of gray. No one is the good one, the bad one, but people can be bad for each other in good and bad ways, and sometimes the best thing is to move apart amicably. But no, they want them to be shipped. God damn it. Because they're cute together, or they want to, whatever. So
maybe we'll get like a Lovers of Echo games one day.
Right.
Just
oh my god. And so to see Sins, like, and obviously you have no reason to run away from the sexual aesthetic. It's a central theme, for God's sake. But like, I can't help but imagine, and I would like you to ask you if this is the case. I can't help but imagine that in amongst all of the fun and the sexual fan art and the themes and people talking about what their fucking routine would be in the club, someone talking about like the rest of it a little bit would probably be appreciated every now and then, you know?
That would be nice, yes. If they would just take certain moments and see if they actually liked your story.
Yeah.
Certain scenes, could be explored a little bit better. I wouldn't mind seeing art like that outside of the clubs. They love a nightlife. And it's a central part of the theme, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying the sexual parts of the story. And it's a very important part of it. It's central to the storytelling, but it's not the only part. There's going to be quite a bit more that I need to flesh out too. I promise I won't tell the whole story on every guy, because that is when things go wrong.
Yeah. You got to have some intrigue. You got to have some questions that, come back for the next update, and you might get a little closer to the answer. Or, and if you answer everything by the end of the story, then, the last quarter of it is people have already figured it out and whatever. That's why, like,
Can I offer you something real quick, a little nerd knowledge?
Absolutely.
Wolverine, they did him dirty by telling his whole story.
Yeah.
That was just the worst to me. And kind of a silly way that they did it too. That, Scarlet Witch making a wish of no more mutants brings back Wolverine's memories. How would that... It wasn't his mutation that was causing his memory loss. He had a bullet in his skull.
Yeah.
So these are non sequiturs.
It's
you kind of right.
Yeah.
And then one more big thing when it comes to Sins and Paradise, and I'm sorry it's taken us this long to get to it too, is you notice that there's no women in Paradise.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I defend that properly, that decision.
Okay.
It's not that women are capable of being evil and they're not capable of sin and they're not able to, and of course they have souls too. No. I am a gay man, and me trying to write a sex scene with a woman is kind of a strange thing. So I try to give it dignity, but I am not a good source for that. and I probably shouldn't speak for anybody who has had sex with a woman. They will look at me like I'm an alien on the outside looking in. I've seen plenty of pornos. I've had some experience personally, but honestly, yeah, I much rather stay in my lane in this case.
Yeah. And I mean, shit. Yeah, if you need a storyline explanation, you can just say that, according to some interpretations of religion, that sodomy is a sin, and therefore that category went to this version of paradise, and that there's multiple kinds or whatever the fuck. But in all honesty, the main thing is just writing what you know. And, sometimes that's all you fucking need.
We love you, girls. We really do. And I do have women invade paradise for lots of stories. So
just
plans
platonic.
for women to visit will be there. They will get into paradise.
I mean, shit, one of the main characters is a female.
Oh, I love Jenny.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see where the hell her story goes, because right now I'm at the very beginning where I'm just like, oh, so she's a smart person that's constantly put advancement because she's hot, but she's actually trying, and that's basically all I've got so far. I haven't gotten very far.
Oh, man. Yeah, with Jenny, I'm starting off thinking about a Mary Sue and how to tear it apart.
Nice.
So it's not hard, by the way. One, not making everybody love them unconditionally.
Yeah.
Put some conditions on there.
Yeah. Put some conditioner in your goddamn hair. I wanted to ask you about a scene, and we're going to wrap this up because we've been going for almost an hour and a half now, and I don't want to enter the same territory I did with my old interviews where it's fucking 2.5 hours or some shit. I wanted to ask you, there was a scene in one of my most recent episodes. I believe it is the actual episode 8, the most recent episode, where there seemed to be... this is going to be a fucking awkward one, but the fortunate thing is that I'm not here trying to insinuate anything or to be intentionally obtuse or anything like that. I'm genuinely asking questions, and we're friends and all this other stuff.
Trust buddies.
The most recent episode of Wolfstar Sins and Paradise included the scene where we see the transformation. I'm fading on the names here because it's been a while, but when he's in the lab and gets the injection. Yeah.
Hyper becoming Fury.
Yeah, Fury. That's the name I was fucking because I haven't seen him do anything other than what seemed to be threaten to do stuff to the scientist. Now, with sexuality being a central part of the storytelling in Sins, and you're literally telling a story that is, in this setting, filled with sinners. Mm-hmm. How do you skirt or address the topic of gonna get demonetized here?
The R word, right?
Yeah. Because it really seemed like that's what he was kind of going for, and
he would have too if given the chance. Unfortunately, the kind of monster he had become.
Yeah. That's an incredibly uncomfortable topic, not just for me, but in general. And obviously there is a separation between creator and creation. That's some people don't seem to understand, but in a more nuanced sense, obviously you're writing a story where a huge section is based in hell. You're going to get some of the worst of the worst. It isn't all just fun games and strip teases.
And that is a subject that I take very seriously too. I do not condone. I absolutely do not approve. I don't like it when other people cross the line too. There is definitely a line, and you should definitely know how far you're going to take something. If you have a story to tell what needs to be told for the story to work. If that unfortunately goes into such an act, but a hero shows up and stops it, c'est la vie, right? Go with God on that one. That is your choice. I will not cross that line, though. I always imply it. I always get up to it. And then I will stop myself from going that far because I don't need it. I think a lot of us are smart enough to connect the dots.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing, is a little bit of ambiguity. And we definitely know that it's happened between two of my characters. Rufus and Hyper have a damaged relationship, and it doesn't get resolved until, it won't be resolved for much later. They at least start during the Halloween event between those two. So that's something that I've always been kind of careful about. I want to make sure that I don't implicitly show any kind of scene like that. I know that there's such a thing as people want to explore the bad ending more. I have a situation where Wolfstar and Fury, I give you the choice. If you're going to go and be with Fury, then of course he's going to do the whole vampire bite transformation thing on you first, and you're going to live the rest of your lives being evil together for however long that lasts. I have people who want me to explore that game over scenario a little bit more. So I've considered it too, but I'm not sure I have much more to say on that matter. I think it's pretty much closed. If you decide to just be evil, you're not going to get anything else done in Paradise. So the story's kind of stopped. Done.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the thing, right? Is like evil exists and evil acts are perpetrated. And this scenario you mentioned where it's happening and then it's about to happen and then someone comes in and saves the day. It's an unfortunate reality that in a lot of cases that isn't how it ends. And if you're going to make a story that includes that, I think one of the biggest aspects of it is handling it with the sensitivity it deserves.
Agreed.
With the gravity and weight that it deserves, because that is consistently a life-changing scenario. Nothing is the same after that.
Yeah, definitely. I have had a close call once in my lifetime. So thankfully things changed and I have avoided any kind of damage like that to happen to me.
Oh, I wish I could say the same. The big problem I've noticed is that there seems to be this attempt to say, you find this a lot in people who are defending absolutely shit jokes, for example, where they say it's either you can joke about everything or nothing, which is a dichotomy that is full of faults and makes no fucking sense if you think about it for longer than 2 seconds. But with that mindset, there are people who will defend the inclusion of it under the idea that it's avoided so often, it's never depicted, and because it is so startlingly common, maybe not in the full extent of it, but certainly sexual assault is startlingly common, but it's so often ignored in media, and there are times where you kind of do have to pick up the pieces and try to move on, and you don't always have time to slow down and try to get all your pieces together in the right place. But the biggest thing, I think, is it's something that you mentioned, is not needing it. There are so many times where the crux of the story is dependent upon this horrible thing, but then it gets brushed aside because something else has to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess at the end of the day, the biggest thing is that you can't treat it flippantly. And even implying it, even insinuating or building up to it, can be incredibly troubling to someone who may have gone through a similar situation. And as such, in storytelling, to include it, you have to decide how much of it is necessary, how much of it will impact everything that's going on. And at the end of the day, whether you want your game to be about it, because you don't just have that as one of the pieces in the puzzle.
Yeah, that's for sure. So we definitely explore adult themes. And unfortunately, as you get older, you may find less joy in things and become jaded. And there are situations that are going to be thrown in our faces more often because we can actually recognize them as adults. We see this kind of stuff coming and can predict things a little bit better. My game is definitely a niche audience in that respect too, because there's not a lot of people who are going to be happy with me because I don't go far enough. And for those people, there's other games. Again, namaste. I have a limit, and I will probably never change that. I know what I want to tell in this story. And that's really what Sins of Paradise is going to be about mostly, is for the sake of story. What is the tale I'm telling? What is the setup and payoff? That's the biggest ones right there. Yeah. So, mystery, I can't reveal everything. I promise you things are going to get uncomfortable. But you will not see certain things that, that's the line, again, that I just don't cross from my story.
Yeah.
It's just, I was raised differently.
Yeah. I mean, shit. The fucking game has the word sins in the title. And in the first 5 minutes of playing, you realize you're in hell. So, like, a certain amount of very uncomfortable themes are basically to be expected, but not making it gratuitous, not making it glorified, certainly, not making it something that's in any way seen as a positive. Those are always the fucking make my blood boil. The worst is when they try to spin it as a positive thing or anything like that, or something that eventually leads to a good thing. Just goddamn. So
yeah, we have a couple of superhero aliens going into the afterlife. That's the kind of story we're writing here.
Exactly. Let's just let it be what it is. And that's what I want to, and that's the last topic I want to ask you about. It's a lighter thing, and somehow can be transitioned out of this topic. Is letting a story be what it is something that seems to be weirdly kind of like malleable as a concept for a lot of visual novels. There's been instances in various games. EA is an example. Tennis Ace, I think, did a little bit of it, where it comes out the gate with an expectation, this is the characters, this is what they're doing, this is what we're going to do. And then the audience says, what about this thing? And they're like, well, that's not what we're doing, but thanks for whatever. And then they keep asking, and they don't stop asking.
Richard Rowe.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this. At what point, because that's something unique to a game that's made incrementally. If a game is produced entirely behind the scenes, put out all at once, and there's never any DLC or no expectation of DLC, you don't get people like, could you add this thing every fucking month? Can you add this thing? I really want to see this thing. I will hate you if you do not add this thing. I deserve this thing. And like, where the fuck does that come from? This expectation that if you just ask/demand a thing out of a dev, that you're entitled to get it.
Let's see. I want to say one of us acquiesced at some time. Somebody bent the knee when they shouldn't have. We should have raised some farmers. No. Actually, quite a bit came from Facebook, I want to say. They have a lot of people just open to getting all sorts of feedback. So they got so much that they had to listen to their community versus smaller devs like me who never listen to their community ever. No, kidding. Now, what happens a lot of the times is people don't respect their projects. They either bend, like I said, they bend to the will of their audience because they see more money, they smell blood in the water. They'll definitely, do it for those kinds of reasons. And then you have the other reasons, which I hope are more prevalent, is that people have good ideas. They have really good ideas. Guys, don't give up all your fantastic ideas. Go take them and make your own stuff. Go work on your own projects with these ideas of yours, because you've got some money to make for yourselves if you want. There's a business. I know, because I'm in it. But yeah, they'll thank you. I hope they at least put you in the credits for, writing ideas of some kind, inspirations.
I mean, shit. One of the most successful, if not qualitatively good, romance sensations in the literary world in the past decade was 50 Shades, and that started off as a Twilight fan fiction.
Oh man, they did you see the report on that? By the way, they're like, they took like a chapter and looked it over, and they're like, "Dang, that's his work."
I did not know that, but I'm not surprised.
I'm not saying anything. I mean, those two, they've had their Twitter wars and such, so
yeah.
We got to work on our own feud, you and me, right?
Yeah, I don't want to fight anyone, man. I just want to have fun and make cookies, and
You thought it would be easy, just play some video games, make some YouTube videos, and oh no, here we are again.
People gotta have opinions.
Why do they do that?
Oh man, because I get that too. Or in my sphere, where people come along and they're like, "Hey, you should do this," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. I'll look into it maybe." And then other people come along and they're like, "Fuck you for not doing this thing that I demanded and no one else." And I'm like, Why do you feel like I deserve to hear that? Like, and I can only imagine that's a fraction of when people are asking for. The example was made the Richard route. Fortunately, Dine, I asked him about it. He said that he actually has an idea for the story independent of everyone's thirst, and so he took it as an opportunity to write a story that he's actually interested in. But like, fuck, man. Like,
that was a good thirst, wasn't it?
Oh man, I have my own thoughts on Richard's route and the very existence of it, and how it came to be. But they're not particularly helpful views, so I'll keep them to myself. Or at least keep them to the Richard videos.
I could give you some behind the scenes room confirmations of that later on too. Sorry guys,
good. The insider information.
Vivian's my friend, so I can confirm whatever Vivian has to ask me.
Oh, dang, you're my friend too.
Oh my god, we're friends. Let's go play Among Us.
Man, those were the days, weren't it? Good couple of months.
Oh my gosh.
I miss it, man.
Best. Playing with you while our United States was voting. That was the best video.
I just miss playing with the group of people and hoping to Christ I'm not annoying them, and turns out I was, and now I'm sad. Shit. Oh, fuck. Anyway.
I think Milo's planning to play another one too, by the way. Another Among Us gathering.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'll make sure you know about it. I think he plays on Saturdays.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you. I'll keep an eye out.
They got a new Among Us imposter thing coming out, I hope soon.
Ooh. I mean, shit, that new map came out as soon as way less people were playing, so, like, they made this super complicated, complex map that you have to memorize a fucking 1,000 things. It requires a bunch of people playing all at once just as soon as everyone was leaving. Like,
I love it and I hate it at the same time. Choosing where to start always messes me up too.
yeah. I don't know shit about that map. I've tried and I'm like, there's too much shit. Anyway, at the risk of continuing to the Midwest goodbye for another 5 hours, well, I'll go ahead and end this here. Thank you for talking to me today, Paul. It has been a blast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
I had a great time.
Hopefully we can do it again sometime soon. I mean, I used to do these interviews with a list of questions and trying to stick to the topic, and like, nah, it's way more fun just shooting the shit for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Grab some tea, hang out, chug a Red Bull.
Try not to spill that tea.
Some hot tea about other people.
Oh, man. But yeah, thank you for talking to me. I'm very appreciative. I hope we do it again soon. I always enjoy talking to you. You're a very fun presence in my life. And hopefully one day I'll get you to listen to the full song of The Mariner's Revenge and not just the first 5 fucking seconds and then claiming you listened to the whole thing. God damn it. You offended me that day, man. You offended me. That is what our feud will be about. That's what our feud shall be about. The fact that you said that you listened to the full song when I know you didn't, because I sent it to you. I sent it to you, and then I started playing it myself, and you responded before the song was over. I tested you, and you fucking betrayed me. It's not even that great a song, for fuck's sake.
My only defense, maybe playback speed was doubled or something. I don't know. I was like, why are the chipmunks singing?
Yeah. Especially with that song. Christ, I can only imagine. But anyway, thank you for being here. I hope we talk again soon. Thank you to everyone out there who listened to the end. I like to ask a question at the end of these sometimes for people to leave a comment down below to prove that they made it to the end. What question would you like to ask? Some trivial question would you like to ask of the commenters to prove that they made it all the way to the end?
Okay, let's see. Did Leomon survive this last season of Digimon?
I don't fucking know.
He did, by the way. He actually lived. Can you believe it?
I don't know. I haven't seen Digimon since, like, way the fuck long ago.
Oh my god. Well, they started all over again. You're back at season 1 if you start now.
Are they doing like a Dragon Ball Super thing where
They totally did.
Oh, man. Well, then where the hell is the intrigue in it if it's just retelling the same shit?
It literally is, just bigger, grander battles they got going on. They Star Wars it.
They were given a budget that wasn't physically possible back in the day, and now they got to redo all the shit. And God damn it, if in the visual novel field, if that isn't one of the most relatable things ever, once you've been successful for a little bit, looking back on your early stuff and thinking, oh my God, why?
If you're not cringing, you're not making progress.
Oh man, I must be progressing rapidly because I cringe at everything I do in real time. Okay, thank you all for watching. Thank you, Paul, for talking to me. And
It's been a pleasure.
There's other interviews coming soon. I've got like 3 in the next week, which is great. I'm super happy for that. This is actually the first one that I've recorded. You're the first one to be recorded. I don't know if this will be the first one to come out. My upload schedule is completely fucked right now. But you are the spiritual first, if not the literal first, interview for the new podcast. I want to get your opinion on it real quick. Following the plot or follow the plot? Which is the better title?
Ooh, I like following the plot.
Following the Plot with Vivian
Yes.
Jade, a storytelling podcast. Fantastic. Because I'm between the two personally. Thank y'all for watching. I'll talk to you again soon, hopefully, Paul. I mean, right after this. Probably go back to texting, but yeah. And then for the people watching at home, thank y'all for listening. Talk to y'all again soon. Bye, everyone.
Take care.